Montanello. Montanello over there.
All right, let's do the dang thing.
Good.
Matthew Stover.
Okay. All right, guys. So training today, we're just going to talk about how to provide value when you're going into either a buyer or a listing presentation, right? I mean, I think we've all had those circumstances where you go in there and you have a little hesitation about really feeling like you're earning their business, and I think everyone's mindset goes directly to, oh God, I need to discount my commission somehow to be able to incentivize them. And if you don't have that mindset, you're doing everything right. GG, good job. But I know a lot of other people have had that mindset before, and that's why we're having this conversation. I know there's a couple people in the office that are not here, so hopefully they can listen to the training and take things away from this to help benefit them. So, show of hands real quick. I know, Sam, you're newer, so you probably haven't had this yet, but who's had that appointment, whether it be on the buy or sell side, that you just get that, that gut feeling that you're just gonna be very hard to earn their business? Yeah, I mean, I definitely have multiple times. So, and it will happen. Everyone's gonna have those situations, especially with the amount of lead generation we do, cold calling, whatever the situation is. I mean, you just have to feel like, there's gonna be a way to earn their business. But what can I do to obviously not have to pay them money out of my own pocket? So the one thing that I'll kind of emphasize is when you're going into an appointment, I mean, the first thing is you're part of a team, and that's the one thing that I always emphasize before I do anything else is I want them to know who I am and what I represent. So, the biggest thing for us guys, we have a team of 15, 16 agents. We're one of the top teams in Keller Williams in the state of Colorado. And we've done helped over 200 families in the last year and a half. So that right there is your leverage and your value. So it's not just you working with these guys. It's you and a bunch of other people that are part of this team that can provide value to you guys. So hopefully you guys are mentioning that when you're having those conversations. I know we have our printouts that we do for our buyer and seller packets. So if you guys don't know about those, talk to us. We'll get you guys that information before you go out on these appointments. But definitely utilize it. Have those conversations. I've had probably 4 or 5 in the past couple months where they are very happy about that. That if I'm never not available, I'll have somebody helping them out. Right? I mean, in this market, we're always talking about you need to get in the door within 24, 48 hours, otherwise the house is going to contract. So if they know that, hey, if I'm never not available, I have a team member to be able to assist you, that provides just value in itself. So, and the thing for me that I feel like I'm doing a whole lot better where I'm trying to avoid having to cut my commission down is I go in there and the more you know about that consumer or that client, the better. And especially on the listing side, the more homework that you do prior to it, the more prepared that you are. That's going to show when you're obviously doing your pitch, right? The biggest thing is just having that confidence and saying, hey, I'm the man for the job, regardless if you're interviewing other people, and here's why. So just give me some feedback from you guys on just a couple circumstances that you guys have had in the past where you guys just felt that, a discount or just you struggled with earning that person's business and you felt like you had to go directly to, discounting the commission.
I had a situation where it was a listing appointment and the guy was just upfront and honest about, hey, I'm interviewing like 2 other people, and the people I'm interviewing are, Trey Laura and like Redfin, and so right away, he's basically saying right up front, all right, you're up against people who are paying 1%. So my mindset immediately goes to, well, crap, I got to then match that, right? Yep. So that's a tough selling situation.
Okay, so big question for you is, are you having that conversation before you go into your pitch, or are you having that conversation after?
Yeah, so this one was tough for me because it was remote. I didn't get to sit down with them. So because he brings that up quickly, I just jump straight to the numbers, basically.
Okay. So my recommendation to Tyler would be provide more value before you have that conversation about commissions, right? I mean, we provide so much more than some of these Trelora, Redfins, these 1%, flat fee discount brokerages, and they need to know that. So when I'm presenting something to them, whether it be the buyer or seller side, I'm going down the list of everything that we provide. And then after that, if they can't see the value, then okay, then I'll have that conversation. But at the end of the day, we're obviously going to want to make money. We're never going to lose business, lose a paycheck over, a couple $1,000s, but you got to think of that money being back in your pocket if you didn't discount it, right? I mean, that's the whole point of why we're having this conversation. So, for me, I mean, on the listing side is usually when this happens. You will have some circumstances on the buyer side where there are entertaining a couple other agents or They, you know, especially with some of the lead generation that we do, they've reached out to other agents in the past. You know, you can try to avoid that just by telling them, hey, let me know what it's going to take to earn your business. You know, and that's a really easy question to ask somebody, whether it be the buyer or the seller side. You know, so anytime I'm sitting down with somebody, hey, what exactly are you looking for in an agent? You know, what is it going to take for me today to be able to, you know, get you to sign on the dotted line so I can help represent you and help, you know, change your life or help, you know, accomplish your goals, right? Everybody's going to have a very similar answer. You know, hey, I need somebody that's going to be, you know, communicative. I need somebody that's going to be there when I need them. I need somebody that I can trust. And the biggest thing for us is I want to build a relationship with you, right? I mean, this is already a very stressful process, but if I can bear some of that stress on my shoulders, it's only going to make this situation a little more enjoyable for you, you know, buyer or seller, right? So, Sean, you have a question?
Yeah, I had a question. I've had this on my past 2 listing presentations, and I'm a super nice guy. And
For sure.
well, they were like, hey, we want somebody that's a bulldog as well, a friendly pit bull. I'm like, all right, well. I don't know what to say to that.
So, I mean, I'm the person who had that brought up because I am who I am. But I mean, for you, Sean, yeah, we have different personalities, but you also know your shit, right? You've done this long enough to tell them, like, hey, guys, bulldog or not, I'm going to do the best job I can to sell your home for as much money as I possibly can, right? To change and help your situation. So that's just where, you know, bulldog or not, it's all about confidence and telling them exactly what needs to be said rather than bullshitting them. There's going to be a lot of agents out there that go into these other, you know, these other appointments that you might be competing with that are just going to bullshit because they're going to do whatever it takes to earn their business, but they're also lying to them, saying, hey, their home is worth $20,000 more than what it is. At that point, they're going to have to do price reductions, going to sit stale. We've all seen that happen within this market, and it's not fun. So I didn't even look at you. I really didn't look at you. I kind of realized that afterwards. But I mean, that's just the reality of our industry. There's 25,000 agents in Denver, and I know we do business outside of Denver as well. So you're competing against thousands and thousands of agents on a day-to-day basis. So, you know, the separation is, you know, you having the confidence as an individual, having a team backing you up and supporting you, and just knowing what your value is. Knowing, regardless if you've been doing this for a week or, you know, years, doesn't matter. You're going to be the best man for the job, and you need to show them why, right? And that's really what it comes down to. That's what somebody wants to know. I mean, the whole bulldog thing. I mean, like, I don't think you need to start barking at them to, you know, tell them I'm a bulldog. But at the end of the day, Sean, you're going to bust your ass to get the job done. You have every single time for your clients. That's why you've had so much success this year. You know, so you knowing that, I mean, what was your response, you know, when they asked you that?
What did I say? I said, well, I'm a friendly guy, and I like to think that everyone's being reasonable until they aren't. So just having somebody that knows where the lines are and where you are, what did I say? Where basically, like, what you can and can't do, we're keeping the deal together. That's what, you know, I do.
Okay, and how did it go? I mean, how did the conversation?
Yeah.
Did you end up securing the business?
Yeah, it was Furlong. Well, the other guy did.
So,
Furlong likes me.
okay, so, you know, there's 2 different ways you can really approach a relationship, right? And somebody that just, you know, respects you because they know you're going to be a hard worker, and somebody that trusts you. You know, so you kind of have to figure out if I can have a combination of the both and go into and express to them that, hey, I'm your guy because of these 2 reasons. Why would they not use you? You know, whether it be on the buy or the sell side. You know, for myself personally, when I'm going into, you know, listing presentation, and Sam will kind of get a feel for this today when we sit down with his client, is, you know, guys, I mean, we're here to give you the facts, and if we're not the right person for the job, then I wish you the best of luck. But I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm not going to tell you what, you know, you want to hear, because that might not be the reality of the situation. You know, I mean, I've had, you know, a couple circumstances lately where they think their home is worth a lot more than it is. You know, clients on the buy side who think they know the market and they think they can just go in, they're $50,000 below market value, and just not true. You know, so my job as a decent enough agent in this industry is to tell them, guys, here, if you want this house or if you want to sell this house, here's what you need to do, and here's why. You know, and provide the facts. I mean, the facts are going to speak a lot more to somebody than me trying to tell them, hey, yeah, we'll go ahead and write the offer, but, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. Well, I do know what's going to happen. You're not going to get it, and you're just going to insult the sellers. You're never going to get the house. So how much do you want this house, or how much do you want to sell this house? What are you ultimately trying to accomplish here? If this isn't the right house for you, then we need to move on. If you think your home is worth this, I'm not the right agent to represent you. You know, and hopefully they will respect you enough to acknowledge that you are doing what's best in their best interests. And that's why we have had so much success in this industry compared to a lot of these other agents, because they think about themselves a lot. You know, and yes, we are all here to make a living, but we're all here to help change people's lives, you know, and elevate people's lives, which is, you know, why we named our company Relevant. So, you know, I hope that, you know, makes sense for you guys. I mean, for me, it's just, I go into these pitches with having the confidence in myself, knowing that I'm the best man for the job. And if somebody really wants to, you know, blow smoke up somebody's ass and they want to go with that person, they're not going to be represented better than I would help represent them. You know, and that's really what it comes down to for me, is providing that value. Value and confidence for me is the exact same thing. You know, we were going to do the exact same thing as a lot of other brokers will do. You know, listing, we're going to, you know, do pictures, we're going to put on the MLS, and there's a lot of other things that we're going to do just like everybody else, but nobody's ever going to outwork us. Nobody's going to have the resources that we have, you know, and that's what you have to pitch, right? I mean, so any questions about that? I mean, I know a lot of you guys haven't had those listing presentation opportunities yet, but you will. You know, even on the buyer side, I mean, the commissions, man, I mean, really should be knowing that if I discount my commission, that affects my day-to-day, that affects my livelihood, because all that's money that I'm not taking home.
So what are your biggest, like, value pitches against Trevor and Redfin?
I don't even talk about that. You know,
Like if they're brought up, they're like, well, I've been talking to them, they're out.
I avoid that
What do you do
conversation
differently?
altogether. You know, I mean, that's great that you've had those conversations. I hope you have, because that's great if you can save some money on the 1% side, but you got to think about it this way. I don't stop working for you. I don't stop working for you. Here's everything that we provide. I will go down my list of value, you know, and I will bullet point it for them. Like, guys, this is everything that we do. Truora and Redfin are not going to do everything, and you're not, when it comes down to it, I know personally on the buyer side, I can't even get a hold of these brokers when I'm ready to submit an offer because they only work 9 to 5. You know, how is it going to be for you when you know, have something going on the weekend and you can't get a hold of your own broker? You know, that's very frustrating, you know, so I don't ever want to badmouth somebody else, but if I can provide more value and leverage for my pitch, I think it's going to outweigh them even entertaining that.
Yeah, and I think, like, the way that we've kind of put it before is you build the tallest building in town by being taller than everyone else, not by tearing everyone else's building down. And so same idea when you're in that listing appointment, when someone brings up another person that they're thinking may be the one they want to go with over you, the way that you accomplish that is by going back to your value, right? Showing why you're going to get the job done. And I think one thing Matt hasn't mentioned, but I know is a really important part of his pitch, is he harkened back to, like, our mission statement, which is elevating lives, right? Well, we put in there a real estate approach amplified in purpose beyond the transaction for a reason. Not just because we're happy-go-lucky, we care about the why behind why people are purchasing, but because that's always the most effective sales pitch. When you start with what do you want to accomplish and why, then you can match your value to what they want, right? There's a million different things we can do. Like Matt said, we're going to do most of what everyone else does. But if we talk about the 5 things that we know they care about most because it fits with why they're looking to sell, then our value makes more sense because we're showing it how it fits with what they care. So in that response, right, whenever Sean Furlong says, well, we need a bulldog, you get back to, so I understand you're saying you want a bulldog. Are you really saying you want to make sure you don't leave any dollars on the table? Is that what you're saying, right? Are you really saying that you want to make sure you get the best possible deal? You don't have a passive agent that leaves a couple dollars on the table? That's probably what he's saying, right? So you can say, I will definitely accomplish that. It may not be by bullying the other person, but I definitely accomplish that, and these are the ways I do it, right? And so that's a part of, like, matching that value proposition.
Yeah, you know, and another thing too is know your market. You know, I mean, if you're going into, you know, a $400,000 listing appointment in Aurora, you know that house could potentially sell prior to even going on the market. So express that. Hey, we do a lot of things to try to sell your house prior to even going live. And here's what we do that a lot of other agents won't do. So you got to know exactly what the situation that you're getting yourself into prior to even going into that appointment. It's all about preparation at that point. You know, so I'll give you an example, and I don't mean to throw Michelle in the bus. Michelle is one of the most badass agents on our team, and she has a lot of confidence. She's, you know, had a lot of success this year. The one thing Michelle does is she gets in her own head in regards to feeling that she needs to automatically discount the commission to be able to earn somebody's business. And the one thing Michelle and I have talked about in the past is, having that confidence, knowing that you don't need to necessarily do that. Even if they ask for it, like, hey, do you mind discounting my commission? Like, well, how about this? Let me go over my sales pitch and all the leverage and value that I provide. And if you still feel that I'm not providing enough value, then we can have that conversation about me discounting my commission. I'm more than happy to have that conversation, but I want you to know what I'm going to do on your behalf, right? I mean, that's all it should always come down to is how hard I'm going to be willing to work for you to save you money or make you money.
Yeah. Now, 9 times out of 10, it starts with mindset. If you don't believe you're worth a full 6%, you're not going to get 6%. That's why Matt's saying you got to have confidence in yourself and your team, because that's why Matt started with the team thing. If you don't think you're worth 6%, then hopefully you feel like at least the team is worth the full 6%. And so, and if you got to start there, you got to believe you're worth that. Because if you don't, then you're going to go in saying, yeah, I know this is probably not worth 6%. So why don't we just start at 4%, or whatever, right? So
yeah, and commissions are always going to be negotiable. Whether it be the buyer, buyers these days are even trying to negotiate credits back to them, and we've all had that happen. You have to understand, like, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. There's no doubt about that. But there's other times that you can find enough value in yourself and know what your time is worth to understand that, hey, I get it. I'm more than happy to have the conversation, but I don't think I need to discount my commission to earn your business, and here's why. I just think there's so much stuff that we provide that we just don't need to go down that hole until it actually comes down to them saying, hey, if you discounted half a percentage, then I will sign right now. Okay, hey, I don't want to lose the business because I think we have a good thing going. So I'm more than happy to do that to earn your business.
Yeah, so I was going to ask that question. Obviously, there are instances where you discount or you give a break. And so obviously your goal is to not always do that, but there's value in doing that every once in a while. What are some of the signs or the things you're looking for where you're thinking, okay, this is probably an appropriate situation, or this is a necessary situation for me to give some type of discount? Are the things you look for in that situation?
Of course. I think it varies based off the buyer and seller, right? Buyers right out the gate, first time you're generating a lead, you're setting up an appointment, setting up showing, you're going to be able to get a vibe on them. How loyal are these people going to be to you? What can I do to provide value in that, first appointment or first showing? You're going to know right out the gate, am I going to be able to, set this person up in a search? And if I do that, are they going to reach back out to me? So hopefully you guys are become good enough at being people readers that you guys understand, when it's a good time to have that conversation about, hey, just want to let you know, my team, we offer up to $1,000 buyer credit for allowing us to assist in the process. And I'm going to base it based off of purchase price and their specific situation. I'm never going to go out there and say, hey, for a $200,000 house, I'm going to discount you at $1,000 because that's almost 20% of the commission. So I'm never going to do that, but I will always make sure that I'm doing everything I possibly can to earn their business. And sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. If you get that vibe of they're not loyal people, right? And we've all had those. I've had multiple of them. I've even discounted my, told them I would give them the credit back and still couldn't earn their business. So, you win some, you lose some. Listing side's a little bit different. I got to evaluate the entire situation. What's the purchase price? Are they realistic? Are they buying on the other end, whether it be, in market or even outside of our market where I can get a referral fee? There's always going to be those situations. I would be more likely to always discount my commission on the listing side and knowing that going into it, if I know they're going to be buying with me too. And I'm okay with that because I know if I'm going to be helping them sell a $500,000 house and they're going to be upgrading to a $700,000 house, my commission is going to be enough where I'm okay discounting the listing 1% because I'm getting a nice little commission check at the end of the day for that. So, those times, I will still provide the value, but I will know in the back of my mind, hey, if I just get a vibe going through this presentation that they're just not really engaged, then I would go, hey, how about this? Because if you allow me to work on your behalf on both sides of the transaction, I'm going to knock off 1%, save you $5,000. Or even give them a monetary number rather than a percentage. So saying, hey, I'll give you a $2,500 credit rather than 1%, because $2,500 credit might be a little less than 1%.
Mm-hmm.
So say you discount on the listing side, would you want to discount on the buy side so that way if you list the house and say they're like, oh, okay, never mind, I don't want to buy anymore, I just rent for a little bit, you save, kind of secured that?
No, at that point, I'm going to have them sign a listing agreement and a buyer's agency agreement. And if they don't buy, I mean, it is what it is, right? Eventually they will buy, because in this market, you don't want to lift, you know? So hopefully you can have that conversation, just provide enough value into why would you rent right now? But I mean, at the end of the day, you can only control what you control. And, you know, hopefully you've done a good enough job of listing where down the road, if you decide to really want to purchase, you're their guy, right? It's all about that relationship at that point. And then following up too, you know, and if you're running, hey, we're going to sign a year lease, okay, that's fine. Hey, if you don't mind, I'm just going to follow up again from time to time. I'm going to shoot you over some listings to give you an update on the market. And when you guys are ready to go and have some fun looking at some places, give me a shout. More than happy to help you.
And I'll show you guys like a graphic real quick that I think in graphics, and so I think this is what Matt's trying to say. This is what Matt has been saying is, you know, when you're talking with a client, there's basically two spectrums here. You have value, like action, like what you're going to do for the client, who you are, how you're going to help them, and then you have cost, right? And so what the client wants to see is that your value, what you're providing, is higher or at least equal with what they're paying, right? And so if their question is, well, can you give me less money? Can I pay less? Then they're not seeing that the value is equal to that dollars. So instead of you going to, okay, fine, I'll bring my dollar down to whatever you think my value is, ask the question Matt's saying, what can I do to make it worth this price to you? Because the type of agent I am, I would rather not do less and have you pay less. I'd rather just pay for what I need to pay for or do what I need to do to make this dollar worth it. So what do I need to do to make this worth it for you? And oh, by the way, that's exactly what we do with the team and you guys. It's exactly what we do, right? When you guys come and say, I'm not seeing the value, I don't know if the split's worth it, we're not saying, all right, fine, we'll give you 60 or 70 or 80%. We're saying, well, what else do we do to make it worth it to you, right? We'd rather up our value proposition, right? If you think your value is the dollar, then it will be, right? And so that's kind of where you want to think, all right, they're not thinking my value is equal to what they're paying, so what else? Just ask them straight up. How can I make it worth it? What else could I do so that it felt like this is worth it? Right? So.
So what would you? I definitely missed out on that listing on Yates. He told me yesterday along with somebody else, and I knew I didn't really express value, or I didn't manipulate my offering to really fit his needs. He just had wrecked his bike. He has one arm in a thing, can't move, and he's moving back to Oregon, so he can't lift anything. And he went with a broker that offered him 1.7. But also gave him, he's going to give him $1,500 in like services to help him come in and get the house ready for him, tighten up things that he can't do on his own because he's in a situation. So I had totally missed the boat in helping him prepare his house with value there. I just hadn't been creative and thought like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever done something like that?
For me, I've helped plenty of clients move.
Yeah.
You know, just that they just don't have a truck, they don't have a lot of money to help. So I've helped plenty of clients move in this industry. I will do things that brought moving boxes over to my clients in the Highlands because they don't have a lot of money. Just to be able to help speed the process up. I mean, you got to make sacrifices sometimes. I mean, this industry is not all rainbows and unicorns. You got to do what's best for your client and be able to help understand that, hey, I'm here just as a good person as well, on top of being your agent. And I'm not saying that you could have done something differently, but I mean, the reality is, that guy still discounted 1.7. What was your commission page?
I went 2.8.
You're 2.8.
2.8.
Okay.
Because
So at the end of the day, that guy probably just gave away too much money. In my opinion. I mean, that was about a 1% discount, and he's already given him $1,500. That's a lot of work. I mean, there's always going to be value because it's your neighborhood, but you got to ask yourself, what is my time worth? It's not like you're getting the buy side too. So, your value is to say, hey, I'm the king of Harvey Park. If you don't go with me, you're making a bad decision. And that's just how you should honestly feel right now because you've had so much success there. You live there, you know the neighborhood. So whoever is that person that he's going to list with, I just don't think it makes sense for you to go down that road and continue to credit him back. So I think it's blessing in disguise because, that's a lot of money given up, in my opinion.
Have you read Simon Sinek's Start With Why?
Yeah.
So this is the strategy, the classic strategy of selling. Well, not classic.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So this is the strategy of selling that's always going to be more effective. Start with why, then move to the how, then move to the what. What everyone else wants to do is start with what, and then move inward, right? And so that works from our value pitch, but then also for the client too. So I'm starting in the conversation client focused. I'm starting with why. Why do you want to sell? Like, where are you going? What's your timeline? What's your motivation? What's most important to you? I'm starting with their why. Okay, now knowing why, here's how I'm going to help you accomplish that. And oh, by the way, here's the what. Here's the things that are going to happen, the things we're going to do, and whatever. If we start with here's the what, here's the money, and here's how I'm going to help you get the money. And oh, by the way, why are you doing this? Oh, okay, great. Then it's going to be about the what, right? Same thing for us when we're pitching our value. We start with why. Why am I here and why am I doing this? Like, why, Sean Murphy, am I here in Harvey Park at this listing appointment with you? Because I care about this, and this is what I'm trying to accomplish, right? And because I care about this, this is how I go about my business. And oh, by the way, you're going to end up with more money and the top team in the state, right? But people want to start with that pitch there and then move in. So, and people want to connect, right? People want to know why you're doing what you're doing. So start your pitch with why. After you've heard their why and done all that, then you start your pitch with, here's why I do what we do. We have that mission statement there for a reason. Share it. Like, we exist to empower people with a real estate approach amplified in purpose beyond the transaction. I want to help you accomplish what you say you want, why you want to accomplish it. I don't want to just help you buy or sell. I want to help you elevate your life, right? And that's why I do what I'm doing. Here's how I do that. I focus on you. I communicate. I market to the neighborhood. I know the neighborhood better than anyone else. And then here's what you're going to get. Because I care, because I'm taking those approaches, you're going to get more money and you're going to, accomplish what you say you want, right? So that's kind of that classic, the way to pitch that value as well. Start with why and then move out.
Can you leave that up on the board, please, for
And another thing too, Sean, for like that one, I mean, did you know that they were interviewing a couple of other agents? Okay, so if you want to say this, you can. If not, no big deal. But I mean, even at the end, if you know you're going into a listing pitch and there's multiple other agents, be like, hey, I feel like I did a good job today. I feel like I'm going to, make sure that you make as much money as possible in this listing. If you feel like you just have a better proposal as far as terms go, give me the opportunity to match it. And I would love to work with you. I feel like we have a good thing going here. Give me that opportunity if it's going to come down to price.
Yeah, I should have done that too, because he told me he was interviewing people, but I really thought I was his guy, and so I shouldn't.
Well, and that's good, man. I mean, you've had that confidence, and you should. You should have every right to have that confidence. But it's, there's always going to be those times where I'm still, competing against somebody else. And that's just the reality of our market, right?
And I view that situation just like you have a buyer in a multiple offer situation. All you want from that listing agent is an opportunity to match.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're going to match, but you just want that opportunity. Just do me this favor. When you've thought about all this, if I'm not your top guy, at least give me a call back and tell me what it would take to be your top guy. I may or may not match it, but we'll see. In that situation, I told Matt, I built enough rapport that he called me back. He told me what it would take to match it. I gave up a lot of commission, but I got the listing and sold, right? And so at least I had the opportunity, and I was able to sit down and think through, all right, he's black and white told me, if you don't give me this, I'm going with this other guy. And I could have tried to pitch more value at that point or just trust, all right, he's telling the truth. Now it's just up to me whether I think it's worth this other guy.
So, I mean, I think it's always just comes down to the at-bat, and then when you get that at-bat, you try to knock it out of the park as best you can. You're going to swing and miss a few times, and that's just, being human. But, you can control what you can control when you have these opportunities, and, going into it knowing that you do the best job you can, that's all you can ask for. And then on top of that, if you do ask that opportunity to match it, or, what is it going to take for me to earn your business today? What is it going to take for you to sign on the dotted line? I mean, all those are easy questions, easy questions for somebody else that's sitting across the table with you to answer. And just kind of gauge, how he's responding to it. If he's kind of hesitant, well, maybe he didn't do that good of a job, and then you go ahead and, throw in a little more value of discounting, right? I mean, it's all about trying to read the person that's across the table from you, somehow, some way. There's a lot of very unloyal people here. We've all experienced that, and it's going to be a pain in the ass. I mean, I feel like I provide enough value from just being the person that I am, but sometimes it's just not enough. And that's what you got to ask yourself every now and then. Like, hey, what else could I do differently? And sometimes it has nothing to do with that. Sometimes it's just the person that you're working with.
Yeah.
And it's just not somebody that you want to associate yourself with because they're not good people.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of it.
Be willing to walk away from a client who doesn't see your value, right?
Yeah.
Because if your client doesn't see your value, they are going to be freaking annoying to work with. We've had those situations, right? If they don't see your value up front, they're not going to see it at the end either, and they're going to complain every step of the way. Right? Be willing to walk away from someone. Like, your time is valuable, right?
I'll give you the perfect example real quick, Sean, from the top of mind. I mean, I've had a client who I wrote 2 offers for. Both offers, they try to lowball the shit out of these people with terrible terms. And I expressed to them, this is not a good idea. It just came on the market yesterday. You are in a terrible position to be able to get this. Well, they took it out on me for being too honest with them. And they thought it was my fault because I didn't work hard enough for them. And the home ended up selling for like $40,000 more than what they offered. Well, I continued to follow up. I ended up having another opportunity. Same situation happened. And then I continued to follow up, and they kept telling me, like, hey, we'll work with you if you send us over that property, but, we're not going to sign on board to use your services or to exclusively work with you. And I said, that's fine. I'll do what it takes to be able to earn your business regardless, even though they've lied to me. They, had Bridget drive an hour and a half up to Greeley for her to just insult them on her wearing, yoga pants when it was an hour notice. So, I mean, it was a situation where I almost just told the clients that you guys are terrible people, but I obviously wanted to earn their business, right? And unfortunately, they lied to me again. They said they were going out of town on Memorial Day weekend. They ended up running off with under contract with somebody else. So you can only do so much sometimes, guys. And that is literally this. It's a terrible story. It sucked to feel the way that I felt, trying to do as much as I could. But at the same time, that's our market. That's our industry. That is our job. And I couldn't have done anything else. And sometimes you just got to feel that I did everything. I exhausted all options, and I lost this one.
Yeah.
Chalk it up as an out, right?
Yeah.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I would say, what's your soundbite for you're on the phone with somebody that's asking you to come over, and they're like, hey, what is your commission? Because I usually try to, what I'll say, tell me what you think about this. I say, everything's negotiable. I do have a set rate that I use, but really it's dependent upon pricing the home right, make sure it's a good product to sell, it's going to move quickly. But I usually always find a place that it makes sense with my clients that we're happy based on the service I provide. So let's talk about that when I get there, see the house, go through the game plan.
I love that, but I would never start with everything's negotiable.
Yeah.
I would end it.
Yeah.
Talk about the value and then say, hey, reality is I'm here to help you out. And if you feel like my value that I'm providing is not enough, then we can have that conversation about it.
And another soundbite, another approach, another way to say everything's negotiable is to say, hey, listen, to answer your question, the standard in our market is 6% total, but I never try to take a blanket approach to every client. Every situation is different. It's important for me to learn your situation, why you're selling, what your house looks like, talk about what you need, and that's going to affect everything else, including terms and pricing. So let's have that conversation, right?
I love the phrase, a relationship is worth more than $1. That is a great, I thought of it, you guys can use it.
Yeah. So it's Matt Stover, original. You do have to quote him though, whenever you say it.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously though, if you think about it, it makes complete sense, right? I mean, people appreciate that. Especially if you're trying to do your best job to earn their business. Guys, at the end of the day, a relationship's always worth more than $1 to me. So whatever I can do to earn your business, whether it be that, discounting or giving you guys a credit back, I'm here to help you out. And that's just me being a good person and, understanding your situation, because not every situation is the perfect seller, right? I mean, I have a person right now that's lived in the house for 20 years, the home has fallen over, they need to make as much money as possible, so of course, I have to discount my commission in order to earn their full business. But I also got the buy side, I got the sell side, and they're also buying. So I got 3 transactions out there, but I've had to make sacrifices in order to get that. It's not fun, it's actually probably one of the worst experiences of my life in real estate, but at the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. So.
Freaking John, so one great deal.
It could be worse, but if you guys just understood the situation, you would understand. It's not as great as it sounds, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, do it.
The one thing I do want to say, I know we mentioned it a couple times. I know we've talked a lot in context to sellers. But if you don't think the same dang thing applies to buyers as well, and your value proposition when you're trying to get that lead to meet with you, or you're trying to get that brand new buyer to actually work with you exclusively, these same principles apply. They may not be paying you any money, but they still need to see how your value compares to some other agent. And that might not be a credit you give them. That might just be at the end of the day, they're comparing your value meter to some other agent's value meter. They're trying to figure out if you're the best agent to work with, right? And so same thing applies with why, how, and what, and pitching your value to that buyer so that they understand you're the best person that they could possibly work with. And it's not necessarily about paying 6%, but it is about, hey, you're going to work with an agent, and an agent's going to help you, and someone's going to help you get the house you're going to buy. Work with someone who's going to understand what you're looking for and get you that best possible deal, and that's me, right? And the sign of whether you guys have the right mindset or not, when you walk away from a listing appointment and someone doesn't choose you, besides being mad, how do you feel for that person?
I feel bad for them. I really do. I mean, that's how you should feel if you feel like you did everything possible to earn the person's business.
Is there
And
a tell them that?
no, I mean, at that point, you know, good luck, right? I mean, like, I do wish you luck. I hope it works out for you, but in my mind, I hope it, you know, whatever happens, it's because you didn't use me. You know, I mean, I always feel like I could have done a better job. And you should feel that way because of who you are. You know, that's why you're a part of this team, is because, you know, the reason why you've had success is because that is your value, right? So, yeah, I honestly, I truly feel bad, and I'll even look up the listing when it sells and just see what happened. But, you know, just make myself feel a little bit better. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can only do what you can do, control what you can control.
And in my opinion, it's not necessarily something you need to tell the client. You already told them why you think you're better than the person you're going with up front. But that's the sign that your mindset's in the right place. Is because I'm in the exact same place. I walk away from a client appointment, I walk away from a client, they don't choose me. I feel bad for them that they didn't choose me because I know that my team will get them the better deal. I know that someone else will not work for them the way that I want to work with them. And if I don't walk away from that deal feeling bad that they went with someone else, my mindset's not in the right place yet. I don't feel good enough yet about my value proposition to them, and that's probably why they went with someone else, right? So you need to walk away from those appointments feeling bad they didn't go with you, right? So that's that mindset, the right mindset.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. I've been in multiple situations where I go into it immediately discounted, right? I mean, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but, you know, you have to pick and choose your battles. I've learned that every time I do that, I lose money, you know, and that's what really makes me mad sometimes, because I provide a lot of value. I work my ass off for my clients. I don't want to have to give away money if I don't have to. So that's why I'm having this conversation with you guys today, is because I've learned over, you know, those experiences what to do and what not to do. So hopefully, you know, when it comes down to it, you guys have these opportunities, you can take a little bit away and just understand that you guys are the shit. You guys have every opportunity to earn business versus somebody that's been in the industry for 30 years. It doesn't matter. But who's willing to work harder for that individual?
True that.
So, any other questions? I know it's been kind of a Q&A and just kind of bounces.
I have a question. I like to see, this is like off topic, but I think you do a really good job of just like knowing your numbers really well. And you're good at like when talking with buyers and somebody's like, hey, I'm looking for, you know, I'm only looking to spend like $1,800 a month. You're like, okay, well, how much are you putting down? All right, well, you're looking at basically this range. Like, what are you doing there?
It's a little bit easy for me just because I was in mortgage. I understand how the mortgage side works. So, you know, I would highly recommend downloading a mortgage calculator on your phone, and we can have a training on that too, just how to run those different scenarios. But that's probably the easiest thing for you to do. Again, emphasize to your clients, hey, I'm not in mortgage, I'm not your mortgage lender, but I have a rough idea of what your payment would be for if there's an HOA, property taxes, insurance, you can always ballpark of what that is, but just emphasize, like, this is not going to be exact, but it'll be close enough where we can know if this is going to make sense for us.
How close is the KW app, the mortgage calculator?
I've never used that. Okay.
What's that you use, man?
I really like using Zillow's because Zillow actually will show you the breakdown of every single thing. You'd be careful with some mortgage calculators because they won't factor in property insurance or mortgage insurance and all that. Zillow, if you do it on their website, it's probably on their app too, it'll show you the total payment and what they calculated for each one, and you can adjust, oh, property taxes this much. Or
So Mortgage Calculator Plus is the one that I use. You got mortgage amount, interest rate, terms, additional payments. So if there's an HOA, you know, annual property tax, you do PMI as well, and then, you know, homeowners insurance. So that's a good one that I've used. I've always used it, and it's, you know, it gives me enough information to be able to rely on my client. Hey, this is, you can afford it or you can't.
And a really, really quick thing, if you guys have ever paid a mortgage or own a house and currently pay a mortgage, then literally just think about your loan amount, and then, you know, if they're looking for double that loan amount, double it. You know, double what your payment is. That's what it's going to be, right? I mean, it's going to be off a little bit, but, you know, that's a good way to think about it too. Whenever you learn certain, like, I always like learn certain markers, like I know what this mortgage amount is because that's my mortgage, or I know what a $300,000 mortgage amount is because I've seen lots of people's payments at that amount, so then I could just jump off of that starting point and cut it in half if it's 150 or double it if it's 600 or whatever. And it's not exactly correct, always give them a range, but, you know,
Even
it always depend on their credit score and stuff anyways.
Yeah, even having a conversation of knowing that what our $5,000 or $10,000 difference in purchase price is too. You know, $5,000 difference in purchase price is roughly right around $5 to $7. So knowing that, it's like, if you really want to lose this house over $5 to $7 a month. I've had that conversation and said that multiple times. They're like, oh my God, I had no idea. You know, it makes so much more sense. So, and just saying that provides value. Like, I know this because this is, I'm in this industry. I do this in day to day. You didn't know that because you thought you knew everything, but you don't. You know, that's our value, right? So that's something that can be huge for people that just think they know what a home is worth, regardless if there's multiple offers or not. I mean, that's just, it's an easy conversation to have. $5 to $7. You really want to lose this house for $5. You know, and that's just what it is.
Well, while we're on the topic of apps, I downloaded this an app to track my mileage. Actually, it's really super cool. Anytime I get in the car, I get out of the car, it pops up and says, is it business or personal? And I just swipe right for business, left for personal. And it tracks all my fuel, my mileage, everything, and it's, you know, legit with the IRS. It is called Mile IQ.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, hold on.
All right, guys.
Hey, you guys good there? Sam and I need to get out of here pretty soon, so.
Start with slow.